it is the media right now, especially journalism, they're fucking starving for hits. It's so hard to make money. It's so hard. And so they're drowning. And so they're trying to grab whatever branches they can. If they got to make a good story with a clickbaity title, fuck it. They'll have that deceptive title. Who gives a shit? We got a good story. The story's vetted.
In a world where free speech is attacked, one man stands tall. Love him or hate him, Joe Rogan is the voice of a generation fed up with the hypocrisy of woke culture.
Doing the Lord's work, or like they're Edward R. Murrow or something, and I'm like, oh, so you're gonna do this and think you're like, there's like this type of like liberal elitism where it's like, there's two types of like older liberals. There's like the type that like is like an old hippie and is like, oh man, that was cool, you did that. And then there's types that look at you like,
well, he wasn't a liberal.
No.
He used to be a Republican.
Yeah.
And then he got on MSNBC.
Yeah, you gotta go with the money, I guess.
Change his panties.
Yeah, but it was that was a weird segment, but I actually
awesome.
I get off on that a little bit. I kind of like when I know it's going to be bad. I think it's funny because I'm just like, well, it's live. What are they? I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into how Joe Rogan dismantles woke culture piece by piece using logic, humor, and unfiltered truth. Stick around. You won't believe what he said next.
On your ear. No, your left ear. Is that hair gel?
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want, but you need to also be ready for like the repercussions of what you say.
Okay, you're not free to say whatever you want if you get fired for an off-color joke. How will you feel when it's you who's out of step with the social mores of the
and
day?
then you get the repercussions of what you said.
I think you're still acting like this is something new, though. People have been fired.
Well, I'm not, but two wrongs don't make a right,
People have been fired for things that they've said for forever. But now we're seeing an era where if you're disrespectful or bigoted towards someone, you get fired for that. I don't see that as a bad thing.
But it's a lot more that's been caught up than just that.
The point is, the threshold has really gotten low.
Woke culture started as a call for awareness and accountability, but somewhere along the way it morphed into a weapon of outrage, censorship, and virtue signaling. And Joe Rogan? He's having none of it.
One thing, reports from the front lines of kids in high school today, that shit's out the window. That word retard comes flying out of these kids' mouths. They're bringing that back strong. Yeah. They are bringing that back strong. Yeah. I'll tell you, that woke thing, it got into college, and then the high school kids, the ones coming up now, they are rejecting it.
I 100% agree with you, and I know that because the youngest one was in a complete fire zone of this woke culture, and he'll come back and tell us stories, and he just say, I just don't understand what the hell's happening.
While others tiptoe around the topic, Joe uses his platform to ask the hard questions and spark conversations that many are too afraid to have.
Oh, I'm asking you to distance yourself from that. Is actually what I'm trying to do.
But that's not what you're doing, though. You're associating him with that, clearly.
I don't think so. I do not see this as propaganda.
Look at the way it's phrased on your article. This sort of race science is outdated and long since debunked, especially given the strong links between Atlantis and Aryans proposed by several Nazi archaeologists. That's like a part of the headline.
So you want me to show you some tweets I've gotten from people that are fans of Graham Hancock
No, listen, stop. Don't do that. They're not connected to him. They're just humans. There's a lot of crazy people in the world. This is you. We're talking about you.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that people misinterpret Graham. There's lots of people on the internet that think that he's talking about a lost white civilization.
Right, but this is something that you chose to highlight at the top of the page.
Rogan has faced his fair share of attacks, from hit pieces in the media to attempts to get him deplatformed. But instead of backing down, he doubles down.
Well, there's also the very real problem with the mob mentality. And it is a common thing with human beings when they get together in large groups and people start chanting and screaming and they feel very justified and they always want to escalate. It's very weird. It's a strange reaction that human beings have in large groups acting together, where they just want to ramp things up. They want to take it to the next level. They want to shut this motherfucker down. It's a weird thing that people do. But I was watching it in your videos where people are saying you should resign. Like, you need to resign. Like, you need to resign. Like, wow, you need to apologize to that woman for communicating with her the way you did.
Right.
In a very respectful and intelligent manner. Like, they want to bully you around. They want to push you around. They want to take that professor, that guy who's been allowed to be the one who's talking and distributing all the information, and they want to shut you down.
Joe's approach is simple. Focus on the facts. Keep the conversation open, and don't let fear dictate the narrative.
Including, there was a movement that they had a ban. I think most people abandoned it, but it was really ridiculous for a while, where they were yelling at white girls wearing hoop earrings because they were saying that this is a Latina thing, you're culturally appropriating.
I remember that.
But it's not. Like, then if you historically, you got to go back to ancient Sumers where they invented hoop earrings.
Mm-hmm.
So are you from Babylon? Are you from Mesopotamia? No, then shut the up, because you're culturally appropriating. Do you have a Korean phone in your hand? Yeah. Guess what? That's culturally appropriating. Are those Italian jeans? Culturally appropriating.
Yeah.
Who made your sneakers? Huh? China? What the are we talking about? Culturally appropriating is one of the dumbest things, because that's what cities are. They're melting pots of awesome cultures, and they all get together. Just if you're a dude and you want to dress up like Bruce Lee, that doesn't mean you're culturally appropriating. It means you're a Bruce Lee fan, and it's kind of cool.
You're admiring that, and so you're trying to take it on.
It's all woke. It's all woke culture. It's this culture of compliance. They want you to comply.
One of Joe's greatest strengths is his ability to break down woke ideology with logic and common sense, often exposing its contradictions in real time.
This Megan Murphy, she says a man is not a woman. She's correct biologically. She's biologically correct. I mean, if we want to decide socially and culturally that we're going to accept this person as a woman, this is a completely different discussion. But she's right. She's biologically correct. Scientists would say, well, here we go. We've got some chromosomes here, and we've got X and Y, and this is a penis, this is a vagina, this is a man, this is a woman. And, maybe this person identifies with being a woman, but she's saying you're not a woman, and you're banning her for life. This is crazy.
Joe's ability to balance humor with hard-hitting truths makes his critiques of woke culture insightful and highly entertaining. While many in Hollywood and media are afraid of the Twitter mob, Joe champions the importance of open dialogue, even if it means ruffling a few feathers.
Child to in the same way that being gay isn't a choice. Yeah.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
Because I'm sorry. Can you expand on the question?
It's a simple question. If you say that the child thinks it's a girl, so you're going to give the child hormones.
Mm-hmm.
If the child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. Like, you don't have. Why are you adding hormones? If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development, you're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body. You're choosing to inject things into this child's body on a regular basis that are going to radically affect the physical development of their body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that.
So what trans people express, and again, I'm not an expert. This is from me talking to my trans friends and seeing what other trans folks say.
This moment went viral, sparking debates across social media and cementing Joe Rogan as the guy who says what many are thinking but are too afraid to say out loud. In a time when many voices are silenced, Joe Rogan's platform reminds us of the power of free thought. Whether you agree with him or not, his willingness to tackle controversial topics head-on is a breath of fresh air in a culture dominated by fear.
Agreement, the cultural agreement we have about how we view, or this is what the push is, or what this idea of the compliance, forced compliance into this ideology. You have to accept what we view now as sex and gender.
Joe Rogan doesn't claim to have all the answers, but he's not afraid to ask the questions that matter. In a world where woke culture has become the norm, his unapologetic pursuit of truth is a reminder that open dialogue is worth fighting for. So, what do you think? Is Joe Rogan the voice we need to challenge woke culture, or has he gone too far? Let us know in the comments below.